All right, and welcome, Hoosier fans, to the IU Hoops halftime report. Somehow, your Indiana Hoosiers are down 29-28 at halftime against Rutgers in what had to be one of just the weirdest first halves that I've ever seen. I mean, Indiana comes out and plays as dominantly and as well as we've seen them play all season long. Indiana's up 17-3. They end up going up 24-8. We got people in the Slack channel talking about if Priller should go in. And I mean, inexplicably, then Rutgers just turns it on Indiana. And, it's kind of a combination, I thought, of, Rutgers just kind of sticking with it and turning up the screws a little bit defensively. There was a little stretch there in the middle of the first half where they started switching defenses on Indiana. And by the way, I'm using a new microphone. So those of you in the chat, let me know how it sounds. If the audio, if it doesn't sound right, if I'm hitting the top end and it's too loud, let me know because I may adjust some settings before the post-game show. But I thought there was a stretch there in the middle of the first half where Rutgers started switching defenses. They went to a zone and they forced a bad shot late in the shot clock. They went to a three-quarter court press a little bit. And it just seemed to get us a little bit out of our rhythm and almost kind of bought them time to get back into it. And then we just totally relaxed on both ends of the floor. We started turning the ball over. Freddie McSwain has thrown about 6 or 7 passes tonight that are just real lazy, real casual. Only 2 of them have become turnovers, but he's lucky that only 2 of them have become turnovers. And, we stopped playing. They started going into Freeman, and so they found, a little something that worked. And he had about 3 possessions in a row where he really abused Justin Smith. On one of them, he hit a tough shot, but then on another one, got good position. The next time down, got fouled. And so they found something that kind of worked for them, started going with it, and then our turnovers poured gasoline on the fire. And, the terrible turnover by Robert Johnson at the top of the key, a horrible pass by Devontae Green, which led to the dunk by Sanders. And here we are down 1 after really doing a lot of good things there through the first part of the first half. But, look, this is a lot of ways I suppose you can explain this. The easy one would be to say this is the Big Ten tournament and bad things always happen to us in the Big Ten tournament. And so something bad happened here. But, more than that, we just have a team that isn't quite good enough to sustain that high a level of play, especially away from home. This is not a mature team, even with some of the experience that we have. Robert Johnson, I thought, was a big culprit of us going down. He hit 5 straight points in the first half during our good stretch. And other than that, I feel like he's really forced some shots. He's taken a couple long 2s early in the shot clock, took a pull-up 3 that, it was early, so you kind of forget about it because Indiana still went on their big run. But I think his shot selection has been poor. I didn't think his defense was very good there, during kind of that final stretch. And then, not having Juwan Morgan on the court for more than 11 minutes has hurt. And I find myself wondering sometimes when we get in situations like this where you're playing basically the final 2 or 3 minutes without Robert Johnson and without Juwan Morgan, your 2 key guys, and I know they both have 2 fouls, but maybe keep one of them out there. I don't know. I mean, you're playing at the end there with Newkirk and Al Durham and Justin Smith and Zach McRoberts and Freddie McSwain, and you just don't have very many options, especially when Justin Smith is kind of struggling. So, I've never been a big proponent of the whole, just take guys out and don't even think about playing them when they have 2 fouls. Whether that would have made a big difference, I don't know. But, Juwan had such a great start. I mean, through the first 4 minutes of the game, he had, a couple 2 points. He had 2 assists. He had accounted for every basket, had 4 rebounds, had a block and a steal. And basically since that time, all he's gotten is a rebound. So, they've really changed up how they're defending him, and he's going to have to get back in there and get himself back in the flow of the game. And I think the other big change is Devontae Green came out and really played well at the start. I thought he passed up some opportunities to force things that he has been, these last couple games, he's really been forcing them, and it's led to turnovers. I thought he passed some of those up. He was smart with his shots. There, the last stretch when he played, and part of it, I think he started to press a little bit because the team was struggling some, but, we saw some of those turnovers come back for him. So, look, I think for Indiana, you just got to come out here in the second half and regroup a little bit. I mean, what you can do against this team because you've played them now for 60 minutes. And for 50 of those minutes, you've dominated them. And for one 10-minute stretch, when you didn't play with energy and when you didn't play with focus, they got back into this thing. So I think, look, it's not, we don't have a whole lot left this season to learn what this team is about, but I think we're going to find out really quick here in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this second half how much this Indiana team really wants to be here at the Big Ten tournament. Because for the first 8 minutes of the first half, they looked like they were really excited to be here and really, coming to compete and win and maybe pick up a big signature win. But then over the last 10 minutes, it looked like they didn't want to be here. So I think it's all got to start with Juwan Morgan and Robert Johnson. And the fact that those two guys didn't produce very much and then weren't on the floor at all is a big reason why Rutgers went on the run, because Indiana is going to live and die with those guys. 6 points from Freddie McSwain is a nice bonus. You're not going to count on that. And so I think Juwan and Robert have to come out. I think Robert needs to be a little bit smarter with his shot selection. And I think Juwan has to assert himself offensively and whatever it takes, get himself involved, because he can't be taking only 2 shots in 11 minutes. I mean, he is 5th on the team in shots, and that simply can't be. So I think you got to come out, you got to establish those two guys, and then reestablish yourself defensively. Indiana's got to get back to playing tough on defense. They're doing a nice job rebounding, and that was a big key coming in. So that needs to continue. But you got to just go back and do the things that you did at the start, because, man, it was really good at the start. And then that second part of the first half, I mean, I don't even really know what to, what else to say about that. Josh Newkirk continues to look like a broken player. I thought he had some nice minutes against Ohio State, but his confidence looks totally shot. He's just so tentative every time he tries to make a move inside, and so I think Indiana really needs Devontae Green. And again, played well for a little bit, but the 2 turnovers kind of hurt. So we'll see what this Hoosier team is made of. It kind of looked like they were going to breeze through this first-round matchup. A credit to Rutgers for coming back. Now Indiana has to counterpunch. Hopefully they do at the start. I think it's really big. Come out these first 3, 4, 5 minutes, reassert to Rutgers that, hey, you're going to have to be in a 40-minute game. And now having played the night before, and they can't be a team with a lot of confidence, you should be able to see them wilt. But they're not just going to go away. Indiana's going to have to put them away, and we'll see if Indiana has the wherewithal to do it. All right, thanks everybody for joining me. We will obviously be here on the post-game show. Hopefully it is not our last post-game show of the year, although given the final 10 minutes there of the first half, I suppose that possibility exists. But Andy will be here, Ryan will be here, and we look forward to breaking down what is hopefully a much better second half than what we saw here in the first half. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you on the post-game show.